In our reading from the book of Isaiah this morning, we encounter the Israelites in exile. They've been deported to Babylon after Jerusalem was utterly and completely destroyed. The year is 597 BCE. The temple is gone. The city lies in ruin. The people are now strangers in a foreign land. They have much to worry about. They worry about their future. They worry about whether or not they will ever go home again. They worry about how they will adjust to the new people and the new culture in which they found themselves. To give you a little perspective of what happened to the Israelites this time, the city of Jerusalem was something like living in Durant. Okay? And the people had been plucked up and dropped right in the heart of New York City. Babylon, in its day, was the center of culture. High fashion, the arts, music, literature, you name it. And it was a melting pot of different people that the Babylonians had conquered and then picked up and planted in their own territory, sending their own people out to repopulate the lands they had taken. Cultural assimilation was their strategy of maintaining power. So the Israelites arrived in the equivalent of New York City with a very small town understanding of the world. They were a very isolated culture as a people. They thought they were pretty sophisticated. They thought themselves pretty in the know. But in their time, the world was changing fast around them. And the center of the action was not Jerusalem, was never Jerusalem, but Babylon. And they were worried. The funny thing about history is that it constantly reinvents and repeats itself. We are not exiles in a foreign land. We are a free people living in a republic halfway around the globe from where those events took place 2,600 years later. Sometimes we can still identify with the same worries of the Israelites, can't we? Our culture is changing around us. Business, government, music, movies, food, they're all evolving all the time around us. What was popular 20, 15, 10, 5, or even 2 years ago is now decidedly out of fashion. Some things that we might know and love in our own lives, even things we find here within our church, might not be relevant or useful to a great many people out there anymore. Styles change. And sometimes when those things happen around us, we too voluntarily go into exile. Maybe we're confused about what to do. Maybe we find ourselves in situations where we're not sure how to engage new people or where to discover those new opportunities that lie out there on the horizon. And we worry, don't we? We don't just worry about those big-ticket social concerns either. Personal worries eat up a lot of our time. We go to the mailbox every day, and bills arrive. Sometimes they show up in greater number and much more quickly than the checks that we use to pay them. Our health, or that of a loved one, can feel like a ride on a roller coaster. Some days are great, others not so much. A great deal of our mind's time can be spent worrying. It is often what we do, at least for me, when we find ourselves with nothing else to do but worry. In Isaiah, God is reminding the people that redemption is near. He will lead them home and provide for their needs along the journey. Worry over their concerns is not necessary because God will take care of tomorrow when tomorrow comes. All they need to do, all that God asks of the people, is to trust. To trust. Something so simple, yet incredibly difficult for many of us, no? A man and his son were out for a hike one afternoon. As they climbed around in some cliffs, the man heard his son shouting from above, saying, "Hey, Dad, catch me." The man turned. And as he turned, he saw his son joyfully leap off a rock, sailing straight at him through the air. The man became an instant circus act, running to and fro, trying to figure out the right point, and catching his son, and as he caught him, they both fell to the ground. The man had the wind knocked out of him. It took him a minute to get his bearings. He could hardly speak. He was so stunned at what had just happened out of the blue, with very little warning. When he finally found his voice, he gasped, much like I'm doing with my cough, the words, "Son, can you give me one good reason why you just did that?" Many of you are parents. How many times have you asked that question? Can you give me one good reason why you just did that? The boy responded with remarkable calmness. He looked at his father and he simply said, "Sure, because you're my dad."